The Seattle Sounders' brand new 2025 kit is here, inspired by two traditional Southern Coast Salish weaving techniques, twilling and twinning. These techniques, passed down through generations, honor the resilience, deep-rooted ties, and creativity that define the cultural fabric of this region. The striking deep blue jersey will be worn by the Sounders for the next 2 seasons to honor the club's deep connection with the Puget Sound and shared responsibility as stewards of the greater Salish Sea watershed. Backing up that commitment, the Seattle Sounders will donate up to $50,000 to benefit community charities around the Puget Sound region. To get your very own Salish Sea kit, visit lobbingscorchers.com/kit. That's lobbingscorchers.com/KIT.
That is how it's done. That is how it's done. If you were wondering how it's done, if there was any question in your mind as to how it is done, that is how it's done. That is how it's done. I don't think there's any question about a debate as to how it's done, as to whether that is how it's done. That's how it's done. Seattle Sounders, 5-2 over LAFC. A 5 spot, folks. A 5 spot. And, you know, there we'll get to the drawbacks of this performance at some point. Or, well, not, you can't really knock the performance at all, but the De La Vega coming off is undeniably that's not good. I was crashing out over it. I think most people were probably crashing out over it, especially because they gave up the equalizer like 5 minutes later. But they put up a 5 spot, and it was a cathartic 5 spot on a lot of fronts, guys, because we all know the recent history between these two teams. You know, there was the playoff dub last year, which was awesome. There was the playoff dub last year, but before that, we all know that LAFC was unbeaten in 10 straight games versus Seattle. The whole narrative out there that Noah and I were both a part of was that LAFC essentially owned Seattle. Not anymore, guys. Not anymore. I don't care that they were rotated. There's gonna be Sounders fans saying that this win doesn't count and that none of the 5 goals count because LAFC was rotated. Seattle was rotated too. And LAFC, they had Olivier Giroud out there. Okay. They had Bouanga out there in the second half. They had David Martinez, who's their best young player out there, and he scored a sick goal. These teams, there's no, if Seattle had lost this game 5-2, do you think anyone would say that it doesn't count on LAFC's behalf? You think that would be an excuse then? No. So that's that. Don't even come at me with that. All 5 of those goals count. That is a huge dub, guys. That is a huge dub. William Lamb, thank you for the $5 super chat. Unbelievable back-to-back wins against LAFC. They're ready for Cruz Azul next week, I hope. I mean, this is as much of a vibe booster as you could hope for before that game. Obviously, it looks like De La Vega is not going to be able to play in that. But, you know, after watching that, I feel more confident that De La Vega or no De La Vega, this is a team that's capable of going and getting the requisite result. So, guys, I am multitasking a little bit here, admittedly. I'm making content for the website, as is my job. So if I seem like slightly distracted, that's why. It's because I am. But we said we were going to try doing these post-game lives. So I had to keep my word. And especially after a game like that. I mean, damn. I mean, where do you even start? I mean, let's start with the KKR goal. Zippy Tuna, $2 super chat. Thank you. Yeah. KKR contract incoming. This kid is, whew, damn. That was a good goal. That was a real nice goal. Sorry, guys. I got some moving parts here. You'll notice on the title we were planning on doing some call-ins. So 1 second, let me make sure I have the protocol on that. I'm going to try to get to that in a little bit, but for now, we're just going to hang out, vibe on the dub. Any updates on Pedro de la Vega? Other than that, they said on the broadcast that they're looking at his quad. No, nothing as far as severity or what happens to his quad or anything like that. I don't know yet. The Schmetz presser should be happening shortly, so we should know that. At that point, I mean, I would be pretty surprised if he plays on Tuesday. I mean, I think that's I don't think that's doomsday, and I think that's just when you have a muscle injury like that, playing like 2 days later, usually not in the cards 3 days later. So that sucks. There's no way around it. And I think, just he was looking so good in the season he had last year. That was a buzzkill in the moment. But the vibes got salvaged. Yeah, so the KKR goal, it was a great ball from Ferreira. There's no doubt about that. LAFC. See, that's the thing. That was a depth off. And there's, I mean, it didn't look that good. I didn't see anything where I'm quaking in my boots about their depth. I think what I'm most happy about right now is how Seattle's depth performed in this game compared to the RSL game. It's still, you have one game of each outcome, right? A flop and a 5-goal game, probably, where their true abilities are somewhere in the middle of that. But like I'm much more willing to write that off as the RSL game off as just like you can't win at America First Field. Yeah. No, I know I'm live. I'm working at the same time, okay? Working at the same time. That's why if I have to send a message to somebody, there might be pauses on here, guys. I am sorry about that, but that is the price that we pay for me going live directly post game. I'm going to have to juggle a little bit. I'm doing deep squad discourse, yeah. Yeah, Giroud played a full 90. They're going to have to deal with that somehow. They were saying it's been 25 games now. And I literally, there was like long stretches of this game where I didn't notice he was on the field. Okay. I have confirmation on how to do this. I'm going to drop the link in chat if you guys want to call in. I'm going to drop this link. And feel free to do so. Like I said, I'm multitasking right now, so someone helping me carry the load would honestly be welcomed. Okay, I dropped that. I dropped that in the chat. KKR goal was nice. I think Rusnak you have a goal and 2 assists after coming on. And I said this on Blue Sky, but you really they're gonna say that Rusnak's game doesn't count because LAFC was rotating, but you don't have to listen to that. Not when LAFC has been owning this team for the last couple years before the playoff game last year. I mean, you take a 5 spot every time. Looks like we got our first call in. So Wazo, are you going audio only? You want to add the video or all right. We're gonna see how this goes. I've got a caller that has no video. So Wazo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry about the no video. I'm in the airport cell phone lot waiting to pick up my mom.
Oh, no, you're absolutely good. In fact, like I said, I'm in the middle of multitasking, so having another commentator on here is very helpful. Talk to me about what you just saw. What are your thoughts following a 5-2 win over LAFC?
I thought everything looked great, but I think this is a byproduct of Schmetzer ball, right? It's high floor, low ceiling. And when we get good channels like we had attacking down that right-hand side from the broadcast view, I mean, that's just what happens. I mean, how many times did we see something swing out left and then cut back up middle and everybody was cooking with gas? You know, and the downside is when it doesn't work, it looks like RSL. It looks like, hey, everything's kind of aimless as they kind of search and probe for those opportunities and vulnerabilities. But I actually did a master's thesis examining MLS as like a corpus, as a whole, from a data science perspective. And essentially, if you look at implied volatility among players based on on-field per 90 performance, the Sounders historically are the bottom third. You know, for all the, hey, it'd be cool to sign people, we don't have holdouts and we don't have really volatile players in the sense they explode for a couple of games and then you see a huge retraction in performance over the continued duration of games. So it's pretty cool to see it work right, you know?
Yeah, interesting. I'm not sure I fully followed that, but wait, okay, sorry. Can you explain that again one more time? I'm interested, but
The data science?
Yeah, explain that again.
Yeah, so when MLS released the roster salary designations, from a mathematical standpoint, you had a really good discriminant to tier people off, right? So you get to say, hey, a DP in this range should perform XYZ based on like the average of people being paid in that bracket, right? It's something you can do in NFL really easily because the contracts are readily available along with the cap. In the MLS, you can use that and then apply a little bit of econometrics on top for implied volatility. So essentially, the more you pay a player, the less volatile it should be. You know, if you play Lionel Messi, $20 million, you should not see huge booms and busts in production. It should be pretty constant, pretty steady.
Yeah.
The Sounders, as a team, as a whole corpus of players, are consistently year over year from like 2012 onward, regularly in the bottom third of implied volatility as a core. So not only are individual players highly consistent, that high floor, low ceiling kind of argument, but the team itself, when performing together as you're swapping in and out parts, you don't see this really big boom of production and then a large contraction of production.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more. That's I hadn't really heard about that, but that's interesting.
Well, it's my master's thesis, so it's not super well done. I had to pick something new and novel to get it.
Got it. All right, I got another caller waiting, but good call, interesting stuff. Any final thoughts on this game? We're on this Cruz Azul game coming up after to wrap it up here.
I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what happens. I thought everything looked pretty good and pretty tight. Let's just hope it carries over and we don't get killed by altitude.
Got it. Thanks again for calling in, man. We'll do it again soon. Got a couple others waiting, so gonna work them in here, but appreciate it. Now we got Spencer adding to the stage. Spencer, looks like you're muted. If you can unmute.
How about now? How about now?
Yeah, you're good. I can hear you. How are you feeling, man? 5-2 over LAFC. Just give me your thoughts.
Vibes are high. Can we talk about Paul Rothrock? He's been kind of a dud this season so far, but tonight I think this is a big moment. He got that one little bit of, he got that goal. He's gonna step up. He looks so much more excited. The rest of that diving header he almost had.
And I like the play I liked the most. Well, I mean, obviously the goal was the best play, the Rothrock play of the game, but after that play where he got free on the wing and just absolutely mossed the guy and was just totally free, like that's the Rothrock we know and love, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had that energy. He had that confidence back. Once he scored the goal, he had the confidence. He had the vibes. Paulie was there today.
What else did you like? 5-goal game. A lot to like. Are you crashing out over De La Vega, or are you more happy about the 5 spot?
I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I'll have to watch the post game with Brian. It looked like, from what Steve Z was saying on the radio, that Brian told him to sit down, and so maybe it wasn't that bad. He wasn't making faces, and from what I understood, they were doing like some sort of ACL like ligament check, but they were saying it's his quad. So I don't know. Maybe it wasn't that bad. That's what I'm hoping. It's gonna be a bummer if he's got to go out for a couple games, but this was the whole point of the season. We've got like 5 dudes who need to be playing at top, and we only have 4 spots, you know? So that's kind of the point of this roster.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What about Cruz Azul? Are you I'm feeling, I'll say how I'm feeling, which is that assuming that De La Vega can't play, that makes it harder. And when he first came off the field, I was feeling like, oh my God, could be chalked. Feeling better now.
I don't know. I'm a bit of apologist. I've been an apologist for this club for a while. I thought 0-0 at the end of the day, not that bad. I don't want to hear that they were short 7 dudes. We didn't give up an own goal. It's 0-0. They played pretty well in Mexico sometimes. I think this team has it in it. It's a little tough to be on Tuesday after a Saturday game. That's a little tough. That's a little scary. I mean, it's Cruz Azul. Like, put some respect on it. But I'm feeling good. So
I don't think it's really what I was saying on the last show is it's not that different a situation than if the offside goal had counted. You still need to score, and a draw with goals still gets you through. So like you would obviously like to be ahead, but it really, like, the task at hand doesn't change that much. Spencer, I got a caller waiting behind you. It's going to work them in, but go ahead, and any last thoughts on this game or heading into Cruz Azul? Go ahead and let it rip.
I mean, this game specifically, it feels like such an antithesis of Charlotte and RSL. You know, we outplayed them and we finished the game. You know, we didn't just sit at 2-1 and give up a 90th minute own goal like bums. They put 3 more on them, you know? I'm happy.
Hell yeah. Spencer, great call, man. We'll do it again soon. Appreciate it. We're going to bring in Brendan now.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Okay, I got audio. Brendan, 5-2 over LAFC. What's on your mind?
Yeah, it felt really good watching the game and getting that win. But at the same time, I'm a little hesitant, right? The game against Cruz Azul, we were playing really well, but couldn't find that goal. And both of the goals, I was just watching back Roldan's goal and Rothrock, and they both shot from distance, sort of against the grain, and beat the keeper in the corner there. And it just seems like maybe that might be because Hugo Lloris wasn't in goal. You know, like maybe it's a lower quality keeper, and we were playing LAFC's backups.
It was the kid who played for the Whitecaps and had an insane MLS's back tournament.
Yeah, Hazel, I think, or Hassel.
Thomas Hassel. He was a god at the MLS's back tournament, and then that's all I really remember about him. And he had a little bit of a rough one, but Yeah, it's partially Seattle capitalizing on that, I think. But you also have to take advantage of that. So I give them the credit as well.
Yeah, I mean, so it feels great to beat LAFC, like it really does. But at the same time, I'm kind of nervous about this next game against Cruz Azul because, this wasn't LAFC at 100%, right? They're going through the same thing that we are with Champions Cup and everything, and it's just it's good to get it, but I'm trying to pump the brakes and not get too excited myself. And I think our depth was better than their depth today. At the end of the day,
that's I think that if there's a lot of positive takeaways, I think, from any game with the 5 spot, but that was depth on depth. That was depth on depth. LAFC, the LAFC that we've all gotten used to is a team that goes into a game like that and not only plays you straight up, but sometimes wins those games. That's the type of team that they've been. So to see Seattle go against them in a situation where they were both rotated, handle them that easily and drop a 5 spot. God, it was great. It was great.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say is Andrew Thomas, I thought he played pretty well, except for that scramble goal that got by him. There was just a kind of a mess in front of the net. And John Bell, when we acquired him, I wasn't really expecting him to ever be on the field, to be honest. And he's kind of impressed me the last year and a half. Reagan and Yamar I thought would just be our lockdown guys, but they put him in there and he plays well. And, it's not like he's, far below the quality of any of our other center backs or anything.
That's a great call out because I feel like he was one of the ones where, collectively the whole performance at RSL was not great, but J Bell was one of the ones that a lot of people were calling out as someone that they expected to offer really high level depth that maybe didn't have his best game in that one. I thought he was nails in this game. I really, I don't think you could have asked much more from him in these circumstances.
Yeah, I agree. So just a great game overall. Tough to give up that last goal in the 92nd minute or whatever it was. But
see, that's the thing. When you score 5, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't hurt. So whatever. I won't cry about it. But
all right.
Yeah. Thanks for doing the show.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you for calling in. Great call, Brendan. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks.
Thank you to everyone who called in. That's all I had in the queue right now. I'll go ahead and drop the link in again. Again, guys, if you've noticed that I seem a little scattered right now, it is indeed because I'm multitasking, working on doing content for the website, as is my job. It's a little difficult of a multitask. I honestly don't know how often I'm gonna be doing this. I'm giving it a whirl, but it actually seems like it's working decently well so far, and I appreciate everyone who queued in and gave their takes. I love hearing from you guys. So these are fun. We're gonna keep trying to do these post-game lives, but again, for this one, I am gonna have to be my mind's gonna have to be 2 places at once. But a 5 spot against LAFC, there's honestly no way that we couldn't stream after that. I think for me, it's just it is a relief. It is a relief. I think the LAFC owns Seattle storyline is now, we can put that to rest. I think I've argued that after the playoff win last year, that kind of put it to rest just because of the stakes of that game and just how big a win that was for Seattle. I think that put that storyline to rest. Now it's totally to rest. And I really I don't really care about the fact that they were rotated. I don't. I know that that's going to be out there. I know that there's going to be that doesn't count because LAFC was rotated. That is not subscribing to that. It'll shock you guys to know. Georgie, it was good to see a Georgie kind of bounce back effort after the RSL one. Georgie and Rothrock were awesome in this game, especially Rothrock. Georgie didn't really get in the game for that long, but Rothrock that might have been, was that the best Rothrock game, chat? Like there's the goal, which was awesome, but it wasn't just that. Like he had a great, I guess it was more the second half where he really took off. All the goals were deflected. None of them count exactly. Doesn't matter. They were rotated. The boys made Bwanga look like a bot. Yeah, Bwanga, he wasn't feasting. In fact, he looked like, didn't he look like he was kind of crashing out a little bit? Which I support that every single time. Every single time. People are saying Pauly man of the match. Yeah. I think you could argue for Jordan. Congrats to Jordan Morris, 87th career goal history. That's actually the content that I'm working on right now. He passes Rui Diaz for he's the all-time goal king in Seattle Sounders history, guys. So I know he's not a DP or whatever, but that's a lot of goals. That is a lot of goals. It's almost like he earned his DP money scoring that many goals. I mean, goddamn, the most of anyone in the history of the club. That's a lot. That is a lot. Down bad Denny. Crash out Chris. I don't know. I think you could I think you can give man of the match to Paul Rothrock, even with a history-making goal for Jordan Morris. Have to debate that with Noah. Did you like the back three this game with Bell starting instead of Nuhu? I did, actually. I did. J Bell was on point in this game. And there's no antics with J Bell, you know. I was the Nuhu defender. I am the Nuhu defender, but I thought J Bell was great in this game. Yeah, watching Hollingshead get absolutely mossed, that was satisfying. God, just so many great things about that result and that performance. Danny Leva has had a really good start to the season. There's no question about that. Double rolled on substitution is one of the meanest substitutions anyone has ever made. It needs to be said. Oh, hey, Colton. I didn't realize that was you. It was a mean substitution. Colton used to live at the Lobbing Scorchers mansion, guys. There's some lore for you. Team plays different when there are threats to push the ball forward at both wings. Yeah. I'm very happy. Like I specifically said I wasn't chalking my Rothrock or Georgie stock after the RSL game. I think I was pretty clear about that. But I was just disappointed in general with how that game looked, and their performances were a part of that. Like I'm not gonna beat around that, but this was one of the best Rothrock games of his MLS career. That agenda couldn't be more back, in my opinion. And Georgie looked awesome. I loved when he was getting the crowd pumped up. Like, that was great to see. So sorry, guys. If anyone's late coming in, I am multitasking right now. I work for the website, and we're doing our post-game content. I honestly probably am not going to be able to stay on for all that much longer, but I am good to hang around for a few more minutes, and I think just bask in that dub. That was very needed. I think the vibes took a hit in the RSL game. Now they're back. I went from honestly feeling I was kind of down going into this game, and And I also was pretty down after De La Vega subbed off. But that second half, I'm back. What's the lineup going to look like for CCL now? Maybe we'll on a Lobbing Scorchers kickoff on Monday, we'll play around with the lineup builder a little bit. I honestly don't think I have time right now, but that is a good question. I mean, the good news is that other than the De La Vega injury, which is obviously horrendous news, like they rotated in a way where they can empty the tank and put out the fully first choice 11 for this Cruz Azul game. So 2 badge kiss Sellies. That's a good point, Forrest. Jordan Morris is the all-time Sounders goal king and has 2 ACL injuries in his career. Imagine how many he would have if even if he only lost 1 year to injury, he lost 2. I think that's the that is a sad thing is he missed so much time. It's like, what could his career have looked like if he hadn't? And also, how would that Swansea loan stint? That's specifically the thing that I'll always wonder about is how that Swansea stint could have gone if he hadn't gotten injured. But I mean, he's a club legend. Mercer Island Messi, most goals in the history of the club. People are going to say that he's not a DP. Yeah, he is. I think we're going to see by the end of this year that contract and those escalators and all that actually made sense. I never had the problem with the concept of the escalators to begin with that some people seem to, but now I really don't. De La Vega officially injury prone. Yeah, I mean, let's see what Schmetz has to say about it. See if there's a prognosis. Maybe like one thing that I did notice is that like his body language on like while he was getting checked out on the field and when he was coming off. Usually, if a guy he knows probably as well as anybody what like a bad long-term muscle injury feels like. He wasn't acting like that. And for what he's been through, especially last year, I would expect if he felt his hammy go or his quad go and he knew that it was the type of thing where he was going to be out for a while, I would expect him to be very animated about that, like we sometimes see with players who that happens to. I don't know if that means anything, but I do remember when it happened, looking at him getting checked out on the field and just watching his body language and facial expressions as he walked off. I'm hoping that means it's precautionary, but I don't know. Oh, Schmetz said it was tightness. Thank you for the update there, Scotty. I'm going to have to dive into the presser after this and get more of those updates. But if it's tightness, I guess the question sort of becomes like, will he play should you play him at Cruz Azul if it was just tightness? Because like say it was like not a huge Champions League game, it was just a normal game on a short turnaround and he came off with tightness, I'd be like, there's no way. Because if it's tight and that's a sign that he could injure it, then you shouldn't play him. But this is like one of the biggest games they're going to play all season. So I don't know. That becomes a pretty tough call. Oh, we don't know how long he's out, but won't be going to Mexico. Is that, Scotty, is that what Schmetz said, or is that what are you inferring that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Aaron. Like I would expect his body language and facial expressions to be different than they were if he really. In fact, I actually when he was sitting on the ground and the trainer was looking at him, his facial expression seemed to be like saying, "I think I'm good," kind of vibe. I could be wrong. That's just what I'm inferring from looking at the broadcast, but that is what went through my head. Per sounder at Heart on Blue Sky. All right, so he's not going to Mexico. That is unfortunate. That's not good news. A lot of my hopes for Seattle taking the result they needed to in that game were honestly hedged on him doing what he's been doing so far this season. But I still think it can be done. I don't feel like that chalks it. I think this team is deep enough to be able to go there without him. All they have to, they just have to, they didn't give up a road goal. So all they have to do is get a 1-1 or 2-2, whatever it may be. And that would get them through. We got Brigade. It's a tough day for the Brigade. A 3-goal contribution day from Rusnak is always tough. You should hit me with the $10 super chat anyway, though. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Rusnak's going to have to step up. Ferreira's going to have to step up. Should we play 3 at back against Cruz Azul? Now that Pedro is out, we could start Jesus and Jordan up front and Rusnak behind them. I kind of like that idea. Like I liked the idea of them as dual strikers when they got Ferreira, and it hasn't really functioned like that so far. So I think you might be onto something there. 1 second, guys. I gotta send a message here. 1 second. All right. Sorry, guys. Multitasking, but I wanted to give you the post-game live stream, so. Okay. All right. I'm back. De La Vega has a quad. It's a quad that they're looking at for anyone who doesn't know. Exactly, Magno. That's what it's supposed to look like. Jesus too slow to be a winger. I just think in general he's not a wide player, really. Like I think he can function out there. It's just not like it's not where he has been best throughout his career. I don't think it'll be a Haxon presser from Steve C, but we'll see. I think if anything, he's going to try and be the we were rotated. It's tough. CCC is the priority. The boys gave a good effort. Sometimes I think that's what we're going to get from Steve C. I don't think he but like they gave up 5. They gave up 5 and really like could have like that second half, Seattle could have had like a couple more, I feel like. I don't know if there's like people who are dissatisfied with how Ferreira played today. I continue to enjoy what I see from him. I thought his ball creates the KKR goal. I mean, KKR makes an insane individual play, but he doesn't have that chance if Ferreira doesn't put him in. And like that's I've been saying that Ferreira's unselfishness is the most underrated and perhaps biggest part of his game that can be of benefit to this team. And I think that's what we're seeing so far. Like I know he hasn't scored, and I would like to see him have had more looks on goal than he's gotten so far. So I think that's what they need to work on with him. But like the way he's integrating and it, like he's got good chemistry right away for a team that for a guy who hasn't played with the team before. No one is aware of Jesus's game, though. You know, we need to see a Jesus game to understand what he does and what he does well. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, like I wouldn't expect many Seattle people to have watched as much FC Dallas as I have over the years. But that's why when I heard they were getting him, I was like, oh, okay, like hell yeah, like I've been watching him for years, and he's a awesome, provenly awesome player in this league. A lot of people are shouting out Danny Leva. I think that's a great shout. I think the way Danny Leva is playing right now is making the Atencio trade look even better. The more I think about the Atencio trade as we get away from it, the more I'm just like, that was a great trade. That was a great trade. Soccer IQ, Joe, exactly. I love watching guys with the high soccer IQ. The bait and switch on Colorado with Atencio and Leva. Exactly. Like you got $1.3 million of GAM. And the guy who's getting those minutes, like Danny Leva and Atencio are pretty different, but there's similar attributes there. And they're kind of similar, actually. I feel like Atencio is much more like of a physical specimen, but they both have good distribution. I would have said that Atencio is like a much better kind of ball progressor because he's more athletic, he's faster. Danny's always struck me as a little bit of a plotter, which is sort of why I rated Atencio over him. But Danny's looking like spry so far this year, and his ball progression I think his ball progression has been one of his strong suits so far. And that's a good point from JP here. Might end up being a starter once Seattle sells Obed. The better Danny Leva looks, just has a lot of positive implications. Atencio more of a 6 and Leva is more than a 10. Yeah, I would agree with that. Does Georgie start on, I think you mean Tuesday, with De La Vega hurt again? Paul Arriola just saying, I'd be surprised if Schmetz has that much trust in Georgie. But he seems to have earned a decent amount of trust. I don't know if I would want Georgie starting this game. I think as a super sub in this game, I would be happy to see him feature. It's just like a game like this, I would be nervous about that. Sounder High Blue Sky said Schmetz had a dig at Leva about not being the smartest player. What gives? I would have to see the clip or read the quote. If you can find the exact quote, I'm gonna have to dive into this Schmetz presser once I hop off here. I'm kind of doing too many things right now to be able to pull that up and be able to give a good opinion on it. But we will definitely be talking Schmetz presser. Yeah, Leva's only 21. They were talking about this on the broadcast. He's only 21. He's been in the league for 7 years because he debuted when he was 15 or 16. Appreciate you all tuning in for the post-game stream. I know you guys have been enjoying these. So had to work it in, even though I am multitasking right now, admittedly. It might not be the greatest content of all time, but we've got some good viewership numbers right now. So I guess it's not that bad, but appreciate you all bearing with me, and appreciate everyone who called in earlier. That was helpful. Seattle's development of the younger players and the defiance in the academy for this team, getting cheaper players with not huge salaries, was great. I think we're like with the Atencio thing and Danny Leva playing, I think it's fair to say that the best ball of his career, and Obed's stock being as high as it is right now. Overall, it just kind of feels like this academy, which I would say that there's probably a period of time where it got talked about as better than the results that it actually produced. It's been produced, like, don't get me wrong, it's been producing good results for a few years now with guys like Danny Leva and Atencio and Obed emerging at all. And those guys all debuted like when they were, 15, 16, 17. So, but like Noah and I talked about this last year, like they were producing good players, but not like move the needle, impact week in, week out type players. I think it's fair to say that. Obed's turned into a $10 million player. Danny Leva looks really good, and they just flipped Atencio for $1.3 million in game, that's like what you're trying to do. Not like for every player, but part of what you're doing by spamming the academy like this is developing guys that you can flip for profit and then reinvest. So Atencio, proof of concept in that way. KKR, we can talk about KKR. Actually, I kind of want to pull up this goal because I watched the replay, but I actually haven't watched it since. It was such a sick goal, guys. I think Schmetz, we might have a Schmetz cook job with this KKR thing. I got to go way deep to find this. This was a good JP game too, I thought. All right, let's relive this one. What a goal! I got to turn that down, though. That was really loud. Oh, me too, Mogno. I thought with how the last game went and then what the vibes were after De La Vega came, I was like, it's way too much to ask for them to let the Roth go.
Rienzi turning! Oh, it's Smolyakov! Kosta Rienzi is behind Smolyakov! Kosta Rienzi turning! Oh, and scored!
What goal should we? Oh, okay, and then I wanted to watch the Roth goal. But I'm very glad that we got this post game live in, even though it was a little haphazard with me trying double duty. Frankly, I feel like from my end it didn't work that well, like doing two things at once, but we had good viewership and got some good calls in. So we're going to find ways to keep doing these. It just might be a little hard sometimes, but we're going to find ways to keep doing these. But here's one thing I can promise you guys. Anytime the squad drops a 5 spot on LAFC, I will go live after the game. I also said on Blue Sky that I would shotgun a White Claw live on stream if there was a Moose goal today. So there was 5 goals, and I still don't have to shotgun. Game plan for Tuesday. The game plan for Tuesday is, you got to play smart, but it is not a bunker for a 0-0 situation. You can't do that. You have to score. So, like, I don't really think you play it all that differently than a normal game. Like, it's not a game. It's not a situation where you can afford to be defensive. If you were up like 2 or 3 goals, maybe you try and see how long you can keep that 0-0, but like you can't do that. So I think you go out there and you don't throw caution to the wind. Like, you got to be smart, you got to be tactical, but like you can't be conservative. Burying LAFC like that at home completely made up for the RSL disaster for me. That's exactly how I feel. Like, I know that you can't formulate a conclusion off that performance any more than you could off the RSL performance, but I think just the fact that that type of lineup in those type of circumstances was capable of putting up a 5 spot and just looking like they did, I'm very happy and encouraged to see that. Great match. Ran into our GM, Craig Weibel, after the demolition. I thank them for the offseason moves. He said Schmitzer was still pissed that we gave up both goals. I'm sure he was. That's the mind of a coach, though. That's the mind of a coach. I actually didn't see the LAFC kids goal at the very end, but I figured Schmetzer would be incredibly tilted about that. It's going to be a good dub pod. This was a good dub stream, but I am looking forward to breaking it down with Noah. Second LAFC goal. Okay, I'll try and pull that up. I was literally in the bathroom when that happened. So, and then I was like, I don't think I need to, might have to go to Twitter to find this. That's a throwback. While I do that, let's talk about this. Going out on a limb here, but Olivier Giroud might be the best MLS signing to date. We talked about it at the beginning of the stream, but I think it bears repeating that when they made that signing, the discourse was LAFC is the greatest, most ambitious soccer team of all time. They signed the leading goal scorer of the French national team. They have not gotten one goal from him so far. Like, you guys understand that? Like, he's played like 25 games, they were saying, and they have not gotten one goal, which it's honestly kind of crazy. I kind of can't believe that. It's funny is what it is. It's funny. All right. As per request, this doesn't have to tamp down the vibes, but like, since they dropped a 5 spot and won the game and destroyed LAFC, we can laugh about this, but I do. I'm not even gonna lie. That was. I wasn't familiar with your game. All right, guys, I'm only staying on for a couple more minutes here, so go ahead and submit any last questions, thoughts, observations, takes, agendas, what have you. Then I'm going to get out of here. I got a whole slate of matches to watch tonight, and it's going to feel good to be able to kind of just watch everyone else do their thing, and with the knowledge that Seattle already dropped a 5 spot on LAFC, I can just kind of kick back, relax, enjoy my evening, watch some soccer that I don't really care about, but can maybe give me a little, some data points while I formulate my takes on everyone else's teams. I like that. Just the vibes after a 5 spot. Like, everyone's like looking at that Martinez goal and not even mad. Just like, okay. I mean, if you care that much to make that run, have at it. Take the goal. Goddamn, calm down. It is unfortunate that they have that kid, but I mean, that's LAFC for you. Hope the good vibes carries them through to a victory in Mexico City. Exactly. That is these vibes are on tenuous ground with this Cruz Azul game coming up. If they go down there and get boat raced, we're going to forget about this game in the same way that this made us forget about the RSL game. I don't think they're going to get boat raced, though. I really don't. They might lose. They might not advance, but like I trust. That's the thing about Sounders teams and Schmetzer teams. Like, hasn't always been the most exciting, but like you always know that they're going to compete and not back down. And if they're going to go down, they're going to go down swinging. That's one thing I always appreciate about a Sounders team. And I think that is actually a good place to leave it off. Just hit an hour, and I got to go watch these evening games. So I'm going to bounce out of here on that. Thank you all for tuning in. That was fun. Appreciate you guys bearing with me while I multitasked. We're going to keep trying to do these post-game lives. Had to do a post-game live after the 5 spot. Had to. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it and it wasn't too distracted. Thanks again for bearing with that. Thanks for the callers that we had. Appreciate you all. I will see Lobbing Scorchers kickoff 8 a.m. Monday. I'll get Nico's thoughts on this game, and we'll be talking more cruises. We'll maybe play around with the lineup builder. And yeah, see you guys on Monday. Big dub. Peace. Don't want to give money to the oligarchs, but love Lobbing Scorchers? Do we have a deal for you? MLS Season Pass is back on Apple TV with access to every single MLS match, including Leagues Cup and the entire Audi MLS Cup playoffs with no blackouts. It's not just the games, you get total access to the pre- and post-match MLS 360 whip-around show in both English and Spanish, and get live look-ins and highlights from around the league, as well as full match replays and recaps. Now, you can support our show by visiting lobbingscorchers.com/Apple TV to purchase your subscription and support our show.
LobbingScorchers.com/Apple TV. Please, don't let the oligarchs win.